Straight ahead on Falcon Fever.
The baseball team opened up their conference play since we last met. See how they did.
And tennis is in full swing. See how they did in their last two matches on the road.
And with the men's basketball team atop the Western Division in the conference, they face some heat. It's that time.
Hello everyone, and welcome into another exciting episode of Falcon Fever. I'm Casey Beasley.
And I'm RJ Sievertsgaard. We'll get to basketball and other sports in a minute, but first we start out on the courts, where the tennis team opened up the 2012 campaign, much like the 2011 year, winning their first two matches of the season. The Montevallo Falcons continued the great start to the season by beating Tuskegee 6-3 overall, with Nikki Polsarova and Helena Nordgren leading the pack, winning their matches. Unfortunately, the Falcons were denied against Alabama Huntsville, narrowly losing 5-4 overall. Despite the loss, Polsarova, Nordgren, and McGuckin all won their matches.
The team's next two matches were against Stillman and West Alabama. dominated Stillman 6-3 overall. The most compelling match of the day was Lauren Blair's comeback to defeat her opponent 11-9 in a tie-break match. Unfortunately, the Falcons' win streak was crushed after losing to West Alabama 8-1. Here's what Coach McGuigan said about his team.
From all the matches I've seen, that they've showed fight. They showed that they want to get it. They want to win. They want, and with past results, that we've shown in the conference, they believe, and they're going to keep believing, and they're going to keep working at it, and they're going to keep going, and I mean that's what makes a champion.
Changing gears a bit to basketball and the women's team, who went to Columbus State on the 15th. Much like many other games this season, the Falcons found themselves down early and went into the half trailing 24-34. The second half was much of the same as the Falcons failed to cut into the Cougars' double-digit lead. Columbus State won the game 55-46. UM's Taylor Beverly had a double-double with 16 points and 10 rebounds, and senior Davia Harris followed behind in scoring with 10 points respectively in the loss to the Cougars.
The women faced Georgia College at home for their annual breast cancer awareness game. The Falcons were down early 13-6, and here's Welch with the 2 at the shot clock winding down to pick up the Falcons' momentum. Trina Moore-Smith nailed 2 technical foul free throws to give the Falcons their first lead of the day, 31-29. It was no turning back after that for the Falcons. Here's Beverly to add 2 more points to the Falcons' score. ended up outscoring the Bobcats 30-29 in the second half to add to their 51-41 victory. Tiffany McClure led the team with 12 points and 8 rebounds. Davia Harris was behind her with 8 points and 5 rebounds, and Alex Strickland finished the game with 6 points and 8 rebounds. Here's what Coach Hilbrick said about her team's performance.
I thought that they did a great job of staying focused, and then number 2, coming out and playing hard. That was a big win for us against a strong Georgia College team that really kept us in the fight for the conference tournament here. The girls did a really good job of coming out and playing hard.
The breast cancer awareness game this year was called Play for K, and survivors were recognized at halftime. All of the participants walked through a tunnel just like the basketball players. UM's mass communication journalism professor Dr. Susan Thompson was one of the survivors recognized, and our very own RJ Sievertsgaard walked in honor of his mother Karen Ahrens, who survived breast cancer. And to add to the special day, of course, the women's basketball team won the awareness game. President Stewart was there, and he knows exactly how special this event was.
That's right. Lots of silent auction items up there and raise some money for breast cancer research. It's hard to imagine anybody who hasn't been touched in some way by breast cancer. It's a terrible disease, and so it's good that our young scholar athletes here care about more than just sports.
It isn't too late to be a part of a great cause. To support Play for K on behalf of the Falcons, you can donate by going to playfork.org or contact Coach Cindy Hilbrick at hilbrick@montevallo.edu.
Well, much like the women, the men hit the road to take on Columbus State on the 15th as well. They ended up with a big win, defeating the Cougars 64-60. DJ Rivera led the team with 21 points and 5 rebounds, and Antoine Davis also contributed. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in the win. Just after the women's game on the 18th, the men faced off against Georgia College as well. To Bank Trust Arena we go. The teams went back and forth the entire first half, with the lead changing 12 different times. Early in the game, Drico Hightower got 2 of his 6 points off this putback. Then, with 7 seconds to play in the first, DeMarcus Catchings gets the and one off this bucket and puts in the free throw, giving the Falcons a 29-25 lead at the break. In the second half, UM would hold the lead until the 10-minute mark, when Georgia College's Scott Ferguson makes a turnaround jumper plus a foul, giving the Cougars enough momentum for the 61-52 victory. The Falcons were led by senior DJ Rivera, who had 14 points, and junior Marvin Fitzgerald gets a little shout-out this week, following behind with 10 points in the loss. The Falcons are now 10-5 in the conference. Here's Catchings on the rest of the season for himself and the team.
Right now we got a different mindset. You know, this is very important for us. Coach emphasizes that these 2 games are needed, even though we are first. You know, we want to be more than just 1 game ahead. We want to win out.
The Montevallo cross-country team was honored during the halftime of the men's game. President Stewart and the team unveiled their championship banners from 2011. The women were Peach Belt Conference champions and NCAA finalists, a first time in program's history. UM's own Haley Evans finished first place overall at the conference race in Aiken, South Carolina. Coach Tommy Barksdale knows it wasn't easy.
It's very difficult, very hard. You have to discipline yourself. And as a team, they were all disciplined. They made sure that they were all up out of bed, that they were all there, that they were all accounted for, and that they put in the work. It wasn't just, okay, I'm going to roll out of bed and go run. I'm going to roll out of bed. I'm going to do what it takes to be necessary to be ready for the day.
President Stewart had some high remarks for the cross-country team and Coach Barksdale as well. With the new marketing campaign rolling out for UM, the president also thinks the team and Haley Evans' accomplishments are great for the image of the university.
Coach Barksdale took over this year, the first time ever that a women's team from Montevallo has gone to an NCAA final. And as I said out on the court a minute ago to the crowd, their collective cumulative GPA is a 3.7. It extends our reach. It helps us on the recruiting trail. And for us to have in the same year the runner of the year in the Peach Belt Conference and also the coach of the year, that's pretty cool.
Well, we asked you on our Facebook page what your favorite UM sport was, and cross country was one of the favorites. Michelle Walsh says cross country is her favorite and that the men and women's teams are very competitive and awesome to watch. Most definitely, Michelle. And Karen Aaron said, I love men's basketball. I loved it so much when my son was playing for UM. Thank you, Karen. We wish RJ had some more eligibility also. And as for President Stewart, he says any sport that's winning. That's the administrative answer, as he puts it.
Well, it's time now to take it to the Diamond for a bit, where the baseball team traveled north on the 15th to take on North Alabama Lions. Kincaid Kohler got the call for the Falcons, and he gave up 6 hits in just 4 innings. Kirk Wallagora tried to carry the Falcons, going 3 for 3 on the day with 2 RBIs batted in. Catcher Alex Stiver had a decent day at the plate as well, batting in 1 run while going 2 for 4. The Falcons fell, though, 8-5. On the 17th, the team then traveled to South Carolina to take on the Pacers of USC Aiken. The Pacers would take Game 1 4-2. The Falcons senior Chris Ross would go 1 for 3 with a 2-bagger, a run batted in, and 1 run scored. Freshman Cody White would go 2 for 4 at the plate with 1 RBI. The second game wouldn't look much better for the Falcons, as the Pacers would come out hot and wouldn't look back, taking Game 2 12-3. Austin Dubberly went 1 for 3 with 2 walks and scored one of the Falcons' 3 runs. The Falcons managed to turn things around in Game 3 of the conference series opener, however. Heath Peterson smacked his first homer of the 2012 season, driving in 2. Vincent Andrews continued to slug the baseball. He went 3 for 5 at the plate, driving in 4 runs. Cameron Heiser picked up his first win of the season in the 9-7 Montevallo victory.
Well, the women's golf team is off to a hot start in 2012 with another solid finish, this time at the Ann Rhodes Invitational in Birmingham, Alabama. Out of 16 teams, including some Division I opponents, the Falcons placed 5th overall. Ashley Beck, last week's PBC Co-Women's Golfer of the Week, seems to be focused in on her game. She tied for 7th overall with fellow UM golfer Tracy Marshall. They both closed out the Invitational 19 over par, just 5 strokes off the lead. Megan Klein finished tied for 24th, shooting a 25 over par, while Swindon, England native Emma Breen finished tied for 31st. Looking ahead to 2013, the university will be adding another varsity sport to the 11 already offered. Women's track and field will become the 12th varsity sport at UM and the 7th for women. Cross-country coach Tommy Barksdale will assume the role as women's track and field coach. He has experience with track and field as he was the head coach for Morehead State, a Division I school, for 2 seasons prior to coming here to UM. Here's Coach Barksdale.
It's going to help out with the recruiting because a lot of the recruits, the top recruits that we go after, want to run track as well as cross country. So in that respect, it's going to help us. It's going to help us grow as a university because it's going to add more students to the student body, to the population.
Now to our upcoming games portion of the show. While some sports are marching towards the postseason, others are just getting started.
That's right, Casey. One of those sports transitioning to the postseason is basketball. But while the women fight for a chance to get in, the men's team is poised to add a couple more banners in the rafters for head coach Danny Young. The men and women travel to Clayton State February 22nd. The ladies tip off at 1:30 and the men after at 3:30. The Falcons say so long to the seniors February 25th in matches versus North Georgia. You can watch those games live via Ustream at ustream.tv/Montevello Athletics.
The women's tennis team has 2 meets that they will be hosting in the next week. First on the 22nd at 2:30 against Albany State, and then at 10 on the 26th they take on Armstrong Atlantic. So be sure to get out there and show them some support.
The men's and women's golf team both have matches February 28th. The guys take part in the University of New Orleans Mardi Gras Invitational. They'll be at the TPC Louisiana Golf Course in the Big Easy. Ashley Beck and the women's team tee off in the Columbus State Invitational in Georgia.
The baseball team is getting ready for a 3-game home series against Francis Marion. Austin Dubberly and the gang have a doubleheader against the Patriots on the 25th. First pitch for the game is set to be at 1 p.m. and the second at 4. Game 3 starts at 1 p.m. on the next day.
Well, if you want more Falcon Fever throughout the week, you can interact with us online. You can watch current and past Falcon Fever episodes on YouTube. Just search Montevello for you. You can also become our friend on Facebook, where you can leave a comment, talk about a recent game, or just give a shout out to your favorite player. You can also follow us on Twitter. Just search Falcon Fever.
Thanks for all the comments so far. We really love to get feedback from our viewers. And for extended sports coverage, team rosters, and all other Falcon sports news, go to MontevellofFalcons.com. You can also find the full President Stewart interview there.
Well, that's all we got for you today.
That's right. And I hear you're giving up basketball for Lent, RJ.
Absolutely not. Not with March Madness right around the corner. I'm definitely not giving basketball up. Well, that's all we got. I'm RJ Sievertsgaard.
And I'm Casey Beasley. We're out of here.